Welcome to In Her Voice, a podcast created for women who listen to and live by their deepest wisdom, their inner voice. This was made for you, the woman who feels pulled to more, to lead, to create, to dream, and to be a world changer. My name is Kelly Covert, and I am an inner voice coach. Join me here each week as we explore what it means to reach for your inspired potential, all while honoring your worthiness each and every day. Welcome to In Her Voice. This is Kelly, and I have another great solo episode for you today. And it's a little bit related to last week's episode, but you don't have to listen to last week's first. But if you haven't, after this one's done, I highly recommend you going back because I shared a really, really powerful formula for how to navigate wanting more in your life, wanting to be better, wanting to show up in a different way, while at the same time really having a deep love for where you are right now. And this is a juxtaposition that I, in my life, have struggled with, just understanding how to navigate it because it's not easy. How do you love yourself now and say, and this is what I want, and it's something completely different from who you are now, right? That's really challenging. And so I share this because that formula that I shared last week, which is grace plus intention equals loving transformation, actually came out of my brainstorm for the podcast that I'm about to share now, which is on balance. And I was journaling on balance because, and you know that this is something that I think a lot about and I've shared a lot about here. I really don't believe in balance. I think it's a lot of bullshit, if you ask me. I don't feel like it's possible for there to be equality in all of the sections of your life all of the time. And in my mind, that's what balance means. And so if that's what I'm striving for, I'm always going to fall short of that. And, you know, as much as I preach about balance and how I don't believe in it and what I do believe in, which is actually harmony, a harmony of life, I still have to be reminded. I need to remind myself that this is my belief and that this is how life works. And so I thought, if I have to be reminded, I bet other people need to be reminded too. So here we are talking about the bullshit that is called life balance. And I want to offer to you a different perspective on balance. And like I said before, that is harmony. So you know that I'm a musician, and I think that my brain, after so many years of being a musician, 35 years of being a musician, my brain works in a musical way. I think of things in a musical way. And so in music, if we're talking about, a series of chords, a chord is a group of notes that has 3 or more notes. And what's really interesting about chords is in any given chord, so you have 3 or 4 notes, one note always has more weight. And it's because of how the notes are stacked up on one another and how the tones and pitches interact with each other. But one note is sort of the most important note. And so as you move through a piece of music that has different harmony throughout, you will start to have in each chord a different note that has more weight, that gets more emphasis. And that's the beauty of music. If music was always balanced equally, the tone would never be different. There would be a lot of sameness to it, and there wouldn't be a lot of ways to make it sound different and have it to be special and have a different tone or have a different color or have a different feeling that comes from the music that you're listening to. And so, if we apply that to our lives, we can see that we have many different things that we do on a daily basis. So I'm a mother and I'm a wife and I'm a musician and I play in the symphony. and I'm a podcaster, and I am a coach, and I also do marketing and development work for the symphony. So I have all of these things that I do, and I've given up on doing them equally, like giving up the equal percentage of time and effort and energy throughout the day or week. I just can't do it. I've tried, trust me. And it always leaves me feeling that effort of balance always leaves me feeling less than. Like, why can't I do this? Why can't I figure it out? It's so freaking hard. And so one day I was thinking about this idea of the weight and in harmony and how the weighted note is always shifting, right? So what if in our life, in the things that we're doing, we're creating harmony instead of balance, which means that on any given day or any given week, one of those areas is going to get more weight. One of those areas is going to get more percentage of your bandwidth of time and energy and compassion and all of that. That doesn't mean that the other ones aren't getting anything. And it also doesn't mean that you're failing at the other things or just neglecting. And so I really sat with this idea of like how my energy can move from thing to thing. And if I trust that it's going to shift eventually, if I'm giving all of my time and energy in seemingly just one or two areas of my life, I can trust that in a week or a month or a year, that the weight will shift and the harmony will change and something else will be getting that percentage of time. And so in the long run, over the course of a year or over the course of many years, that will create balance. But in the short term, it doesn't feel very balanced. Now, I did discover a little hitch in my lovely theory of harmony of life. And that is this: self-care. So self-care is the glue that keeps the harmony together. Self-care is something that you cannot let go of, because when you let go of the self-care, then you begin to go down a very dangerous spiral of not feeling energetic, and which means maybe you feel like you're in a little bit of a funk, or maybe you feel like you're depressed, or maybe you are depressed. Maybe you start to indulge in negative self-talk. And I do think that that's indulgent. It's something that we do without thinking, and it's a very default way of living. And so, you can see how when we take the self-care out of that combination, it can all fall apart really, really fast. And all of a sudden you realize not only are you not living in harmony, you're living in chaos, and nothing makes sense. And everything feels bad. And maybe there's not any area of your life where you feel like you're killing it. And that's the thing. Like, I always want to feel like in one or two areas, I've got it. And I know that the intention will go to another area eventually. But the self-care has to be the priority. The self-care is the glue that keeps everything together. So the question that you ask, once you've really grasped onto this idea of harmony, living a harmony where the weight and the effort in the areas of your life changes from day to day, from week to week, from month to month, what is the self-care that is absolutely essential for you to hold that together? And I think a lot of the holding is actually an energetic holding. It's an energetic holding of the understanding that you are enough today, that all of your effort, wherever you might be putting it, is enough. And I know for me, when the self-care starts to slide, that belief starts to slide. So what is this essential self-care that you need in order to stay in it, to keep that perspective, to have the glue in your harmony? For me, that is gratitude, 100%. It is moving my body, and it is eating right. Those are my three essentials. If I let those go, watch out, bad things are going to happen. And it may not look like bad things are happening from the outside looking in, but it's in my head, it's in my energy, it's in my space, it's in my heart, it's in my body that I'm not feeling at my best and that I can't really embrace fully the love I have for myself, which also means it's hard for me to embrace fully the love that I have for others, which then becomes a really big problem, right? So you can see how the self-care piece, and I'm not talking about your highest level of self-care, which if we could do that every single day, wouldn't that be amazing, right? Yeah, like if I could meditate for 20 minutes every day and journal for 20 minutes every day and exercise for an hour and eat only beautiful foods all the time, 100% of the time, and have time by myself and, all of those self-care pieces that I love, if I could do that every day, that would be amazing, but I can't. But what are the essentials? What is the smallest amount of self-care that you can get away with? Because that is critical. That's life-giving. And if you are not at least doing that, you will feel the rub. You will feel it. And then it starts to feel like everything disintegrates. So I just wanted to pop in here today and give you this reminder. Number one, life balance is bullshit. Number two, your life is a beautiful harmony. And the weight of your attention will shift from day to day, from week to week. And when we see that over the course of a lifetime, it's balanced, that can be enough for us. And that can allow us so much grace and so much space to create and to go all in on something and to come back out of that and to be a good mom and a good wife and a good partner and a good friend, all of these things. We're not required to do it 100% every single day though, right? And then third, your self-care, your critical self-care, those tiniest things that you need to feel like you, that is the glue that holds it all together. So do not neglect the self-care, because when the self-care jar is empty, then there's very little to pour out into the other areas of your life. We have to keep that jar, or bucket, some people call it, we have to keep that jar with something in it. Otherwise, we have nothing to give. And remember, you have so much to give. Don't let that reserve run dry and keep you from being exactly who you were meant to be on this earth, because we need you. You are worthy.